flag of Christian faith. I pledge allegiance to the Christian flag, to the Savior for whose kingdom and state, one Savior, crucified, risen, coming again, life and liberty for all who live. Pledge the United States flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of South Carolina. I salute the flag of North Carolina, pledge to the old North State, love, loyalty, and faith. I salute the flag of the Federal States of America. I salute the federal flag of affection, reverence, undying devotion to the cause for which it stands. In the South, driven war and death in this nation. You, sons of Confederate veterans, we will commit to education and college, which we fought. Your strength will give the defense of the Confederate soldiers good name, the guardianship of his history, emulation of his virtues, perpetuation of those principles which you love also, those ideals which made him glorious, which you also cherish. Remember, it's your duty to see that the true history of the South is presented to future generations.
Okay. He said that if he was not ready by the time you're done, for me to go ahead and do my devotional so that we can get that done, get over with, and we can all swap gifts or something like that. Okay? But, so what business do we got?
Yeah, last month, Gerald Thorne, we swore him in. We swear him in. Yeah. Yeah. What? Yeah, I got that. Really swear him, so all the vial of blood, you know. Like if you will anybody, just recognize
Oh, okay.
there's her ass that can't find it in his Bible.
You use your real Bible.
You know, it's always comforting to know that you raised a daughter that at least has a sense of humor. If you don't think she has a sense of humor, look at her daddy.
I'll second that.
15, the holy days. I'm not going to say holidays, because people have turned our holy days into holidays. But everybody's familiar with the verse in Isaiah chapter 9, verse 6. It says, "For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulders. And his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, and the Prince of Peace." What does that mean? Oh, yeah, we know. Okay, yeah, that's pointing to Jesus Christ. But the names that he will be called, Wonderful. Have you ever looked up synonyms for certain words? I looked up the word synonym for wonderful. You get like awesome and fantastic. But one word stuck out in my mind. That word was divine. And I said, that fits you say. Heavenly was another word for wonderful. So he is heavenly. He's also a counselor. A counselor. We use that phrase with the other an attorney, a lawyer, pastor, can be a counselor. But another word is advocate. In 1 John chapter 2, we read, "My little children, these things I write to you, that you sin not. And if any man sin, we have an advocate with the Father, Jesus Christ the righteous. And he is the propitiation for our sins, and not for ours only, but also for the sins of the whole world. And hereby do we know that we know him if we keep his commandments." We have an advocate. What better advocate to have than Christ? We're going to a court of law. If we've been accused of doing something wrong, we go to a court of law. We best get a lawyer. Not like this guy, Dylan, said he was going to represent himself. The old saying is true. man who has himself for a lawyer as a client for a fool. And that's true. We cannot approach God the Father. We have to have an advocate, someone to go between. And that advocate is Christ Jesus. When we go, just as my pastor's grandmother went, she has to stand before God. And when God sees the love of Christ, that's all. He's also been called the mighty God, not a mighty God, but the mighty God. So if you're a wordsmith, you'll know that when you write something and you write something that somebody is a, that means that there are others like it. But when you write that somebody is the, that means that there's only one. And that's what it says here. The mighty God, none other. The everlasting Father. Not an everlasting Father, but the everlasting Father. And the Prince of Peace. Did you ever look up what that word prince means? It's from the old Latin word. It says principalitatis, which literally means the one who takes the first place or position. We could say that Alan is the prince of this camp. But we're not going to put it on that pedestal. You know, right? Well, what I'm saying, we could and not be wrong, because he does have first place in the camp. The commander always does. Jesus Christ, we ask ourselves during this holiday, holy day season, is Jesus Christ first in our life, first in our home, first in our city, first in our state, but most of all, is he first in your life? Does he sit on the throne of your life? Does he govern? Does he counsel you in everything you do? Let's not get so caught up in all the things of this world that we take our eyes off of the Prince of Peace. My Savior is not a baby laying in a manger. And believe it or not, my Savior is not hanging on a cross still. My Savior was taken off of that cross, buried. 3 days later, he rose again, and now sits at the right hand of the Father. That is my Savior. Let's not get caught up with all this holiday stuff and all the negativity we see everywhere. People are always seeing peace on their goodwill toward me. Do we mean it? Do we mean to bring the Prince of Peace into our lives and govern our lives, say, moment by moment, not just on one day a year, but all days of the year? Prince of Peace, all days is Christ number one in my life. We're not guaranteed 5 minutes from now. We're not guaranteed tomorrow or next week. You can't put it off. You say, well, I gotta wait. No. Now is the accepted time. Now is the time to bring in Prince of Peace in your life. And then it will be truly peace. Thank you. And Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Huh? We're swearing. Yeah. I'm good at that. I know. Yeah, can I put this away? I guess. I got one right here. Okay.
We're gathered here to initiate the bonds of fraternal brotherhood and patriotism. Wayne Gerald Lane. We share a common birthright as Southerners and descendants of those who served the Confederate States of America. The Sons of Confederate Veterans is a patriotic organization, not linked with any other organization in either political or sexual. We take justifiable pride in our Confederate forebears, men and women, who sacrificed their all for the cause in which they believed. The Confederate soldier won the admiration of the world by his courageous fight against an enemy overwhelming in numbers, equipment, and implements of war. With few exceptions, they were volunteers who fought for principles of government in which they believed. Although defeated, they left us traditions of faith in God, honor, chivalry, and respect for womanhood. They left us a passionate belief in freedom for the individual. Our Confederate ancestors bequeathed to us a military tradition of valor, patriotism, devotion to duty, and a spirit of self-sacrifice when our nation no longer admires and pays tribute to these traditions. We will no longer remain a free nation. The chaplain will now administer the pledge.
Where's my part? Okay, we're kind of stand up. Okay, I'll come down. Where's the you don't have to put it away. There we are, okay. Raise your right hand and repeat after me.
Continue.
I pledge allegiance to the United States of America and to its Constitution, and promise to defend it against all enemies. I pledge myself to loyally support the activities of the camp and the Sons of Confederate Veterans, whose purpose it is to cultivate, perpetuate, and sanctify the memory of the Confederacy. In doing so, I do not only honor my Confederate ancestors, but also affirm my loyalty and devotion to God and country, which is so much a part of his character.
On behalf of the Lieutenant William Corbitt, Camp 525, and the Sons of Confederate Veterans, welcome to our ranks, Mr. Patriot Wayne Gerald. Anybody got anything else? Nobody's got anything else, then we'll turn it over to the lieutenant commander. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the presentation tonight is entitled Santa Claus, General Lee and Santa Claus. And you may be wondering why I dress like this. Well, there's a few reasons why. Heather, are you going out to get your mother?
No.
Okay. When she comes, I'll need the box.
Yes, sir.
All right, so, where does this tale begin? Why do we even do this thing called Christmas to begin with? Well, the reason is you go back to about the year 323 AD. And about that year, there is a force that is upon the earth that has gained much power. And that force is known as the Roman Catholic Church. The Roman Catholic Church decides that as they are growing into areas in other countries, they see these pagan people, they have all types of festivals and holidays, different things, and they are trying to put a Christian spin on those festivals. The Romans themselves had a festival called the Festival of Saturnalia that occurred during the week of the winter solstice. And that is where they honored the sun god Mithra, who happened to be born on December 25th. Well, the Romans had a day in that week-long celebration where they would give presents to the children. Interesting. Well, around 313, Constantine the Great will become the emperor of the Roman Empire. He will see a sign, supposedly in the sky, of the sign of the cross. Then he will be told, by this sign, you will conquer. So he supposedly converts to Christianity, and Christianity becomes the law of the land. And so it is. Christians now will not any longer be persecuted. So what Constantine wants to do is Constantine wants to have a celebration, because they already have been celebrating the death of Christ, the resurrection of Christ, but now also they seek to celebrate the birth of Christ. Now the Catholic Church, they do something that we Baptists and Methodists and Presbyterians, we call it the Lord's Supper. But they do something a little bit different, and it's called the Mass. And in the Mass, they're going to call upon, the priest is going to call upon the actual presence of Christ and go through a Latin symposium and command the Lord to turn the bread and turn, they use wine, into the actual body and blood of Christ. Actually, Jesus told us in His Word to do this in remembrance of me. So, without getting into a long theological drawn-out dissertation, they celebrate the Mass. And so they chose to celebrate the birth of Christ on December 25th in what they would call the Christ Mass, Christmas. Forward, move ahead about 10 to 15 or so years. And we're going to swing now from Rome all the way over to Turkey. You know that country called Myra in Turkey. Now over there's a preacher. Now the Catholics like to lay claim to him, and he could have been a Catholic priest for all we know, but there's consensus that's divided. It's just like St. Patrick. Here's your extra throw in, no extra charge. Patrick wasn't even a Catholic. He was a Baptist
when you look and see what he believed in, but the Catholics stole him and they made him into St. Patrick. Anyway, moving on. So what happens is there is a preacher over there in Myra, and he happens to have come from a very wealthy family. And so this preacher's name is Nicholas. And there's all kinds of stories and legends about Nicholas. But one of the most enduring stories is that there is a poor man who lives inside the town, and he has 3 adult grown daughters. They can't get married because they don't have a dowry. So supposedly, Nicholas climbs up on top of the roof one night, takes a sack of gold addressed to eldest daughter number 1, drops the sack of gold down the chimney. The next night, he'll climb back up on top of the roof, drop a second bag of gold down the chimney. And the third night, the same thing. Around the 1400s, the people that will peddle wares, used wares, and basically today we're going to call those people pawn shop proprietors. Have you ever seen the little 3 balls outside of the pawn shop? I've often wondered where did that come from. Well, supposedly it comes from the 3 bags of gold that Nicholas dropped down the chimney. Because later, Saint Nicholas will become the patron saint of pawnbrokers. So, Nicholas, the idea of giving gifts will become sooner or later mushed around the 1400s in Europe. And so the idea from some of the pagan traditions and rituals have floated across the time and mushed with the idea of Nicholas. In Germany, they will celebrate St. Nicholas Day. December 6th will be his feast day, the day when he supposedly died. That will be his feast day. And so it is that Nicholas will be honored by the Catholic Church on December 6th. And so even today in Germany, they will celebrate on December 6th. The good children will put their little shoes out, and they will have nuts and candies and fruit and different little things there. But on December 5th, his demonic partner, Krampus, will come and either eat the bad children or leave lumps of coal in their shoes, depending on how demonic you want to get there. We don't know a lot about Krampus over here in America, but over in Deutschland and the Germanic areas, they know all about Krampus. And he does look like a demon, a horned, evil-looking guy. So, St. Nicholas then is there, and the Dutch will call him Sinterklaas. The English, Irish, Scottish, they're going to refer to him as Father Christmas. Another one of the languages over there, they're going to speak of the Christ child, and they're going to say Christkindl. That's the Dutch. When the Dutch come over here, they're going to speak of the Christ child, and we, over here, we can't speak that many weird languages they say over there, and so it's going to hear in our ears as Kris Kringle. And Kris Kringle comes from the Dutch, which means Christ child. So you are actually saying, when you say Kris Kringle, I am old Kris Kringle, and the king of jingle. Remember that from the Rudolph? Yeah, I do too. Well, when he's saying Kris Kringle, he is meaning Christ child. That's what the meaning is. That might not have been the intent of what we heard in our innocence, but that's what it meant. And the Sinterklaas became corrupted in our ear as Santa Claus. In the 1820s, there was a Yankee preacher, Clement Moore. I believe it was 1824. He wrote anonymously a poem called A Visit from St. Nicholas. And you know how the poem goes. It was the night before Christmas, and all through the house when a preacher was stirring, not even a mouse. He wrote that, and he talked about a visit from St. Nicholas with 8 tiny reindeer. On Dasher, on Dancer, on Comet, on Dixon, football. He will come inside the house through the chimney. And when he laughs, his belly will shake like a bowl full of jelly. But in that, he changes Nicholas from a person. He said, that he was a right jolly old elf. But now he is a mythical creature. And I'll come back to that momentarily. Hopefully my props are going to get here. Shoot, they're not going to get it. Okay.
You'll be done by the time they
Right. Okay. All right, guys. I thought I had everything together. It's been crazy this week. So, I'll show you the proof whenever I can. So, moving on. Once more found out this was going to be a money-making scheme. He seized it as his own, and now he's going to begin to earn royalties off of the publication of 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. So Santa Claus becomes a household word in the 1830s. By the 1830s, he's all over North and South in America. Another tradition that we have in America that also comes from the old country is the Christmas tree. But it is in Williamsburg, Virginia, that a preacher by the name of C.F. Minnigrode. Does that ring a bell with anyone? Minnigrode? Okay. Minnigrode, who was a political refugee from Germany, he wants to show the people of America in Virginia what we used to do in the fatherland. And he gets a tree, a small tree, as you have there on your table, and he puts it inside the parlor. And he will put candles and pink popcorn on this tree. About in the year 1842. The next year, everybody in Williamsburg will have a Christmas tree. Now, it kind of gained popularity up north because the King and Queen of England had a postcard. It was a Christmas card. Actually came over here, and they had a small one on a table there inside of the palace. And so the Yankees kind of like that. But it started in Virginia with a German immigrant. In the 1840s, during the Mexican-American War, when Robert E. Lee is away from Arlington for the first time in 15 years, he will write home to his son, Rob, and he will say, I hope Santa Claus brings you many gifts, stuffs your stockings full. Now let's speed ahead a few years, 1861. The war now breaks out. By December, the blockade isn't in full swing yet. But some people are beginning to feel a small pinch. By 1862, there's going to be a larger shortage of materials. And so now, in 62, 63, 64, Southern children are going to begin to start to wonder, where are our gifts? It's not the same as it was before the war. Where is Santa Claus? Has he forgotten the little rebel children? So it is. Southern mothers and grandmothers, they have to think of what to tell their children. Some mothers say, well, the Yankees shot Santa Claus. Other mothers say, well, son told her he couldn't break the blockade. That was the prevailing notion. He can't get around the blockade. Well, we're going to come back to that about General Lee here a little bit. So hang on to that idea. But in 1964, in December, the Richmond Times-Examiner, they're going to publish an article in their newspaper saying that Santa is nothing but a Dutch toy monger, an immigrant, and he has nothing whatsoever to do with a genuine Virginia Christmas that are hot enough. But over and over and over, beloved, the thing that I kept running into about Christmas in the South was that they went to church on Christmas Day. Over and over. Even in 1863, I read a letter of a mother in Augusta, Georgia, saying that her children kept the faith in Santa Claus in hopes that he would come. And they hung their little threadbare stockings by the fireplace in hopes that he would give them something. But she said in her journal that December 25th, that morning, they went to church. In 1890, all many years later, Verena Davis, wife of former Confederate President Jefferson Davis, who passed in 1889, she will write her fondest memory of the Christmas of 1864 in the Confederate White House. And she will say that that morning they got up and they went to St. Paul's Church. They walked there. They did not drive the carriage there. They walked over to St. Paul's Church where C.F. Pettigrew was giving the sermon. God. So Jordan Pettigrew wound up at St. Paul's in the 1850s. And he became what many people would call the father confessor of the Confederacy, even baptizing Jefferson Davis in 1862 into the Episcopal faith. So, they went to church that Sunday morning. They went back, they had a feast, had their eggnog, and Southerners said in letters and journals and diaries, it just wasn't Christmas without the eggnog. That's one thing the slaves really enjoyed. They looked forward to that day of the year when they could imbibe on eggnog. But the children, the Davis children, were really wanting to look forward to 8 o'clock. Verena said, every hour on the hour throughout that whole long day of December 25th, the children kept peeping inside of the main parlor and saying, is it 8 o'clock yet? Is it 8 o'clock yet? Is it 8 o'clock yet? And I'm thinking, when I read this, what is so important about 8 o'clock? Well, that's when they went back to the church, and they had the orphans of Richmond in the basement. And there they would trim the little Christmas tree, and one young girl would get the prize of the night, a handmade crafted dollhouse. But Jefferson Davis got into the spirit, and Verena said he was acting like Santa himself, and he was just giving out presents to every child who had an outstretched hand. And she said he could not control himself. And you may now begin to dislike this of what I wear, because now let's shift gears up north. You see, when you go to war, you have to use everything at your fingertips. And one of the ways you win wars is you have to win the hearts of the people. And the way you do that is through what we call, technically, it's called propaganda. Propaganda is the use of the media, is the use of trying to find something with which to get the hearts and minds of the people. You want to see about propaganda? Somewhat, go back to World War II. And you will find, look it up on YouTube, you'll find that Donald Duck went to war, Mickey Mouse went to war. Disney got in full swing behind the Allied war effort. And they produced hundreds of cartoons about the bad guys, the Japs and the Nazis and the Italians. And so did the Germans. When we think of propaganda, sometimes, I know I was guilty of it, I generally thought about the Germans. You know, Herr Goebbels, the Ministry of Propaganda. But no, propaganda is using the means of mass marketing and the media to sway the minds of people. So Santa Claus was universally known throughout the North and throughout the South. So Lincoln called upon his publishers to get with the program and draw things, write things, poems and speeches and songs and illustrations, anything that would capture the hearts and minds of the people. So there was a very, very well-known illustrator for Harper's Weekly. His name was Thomas Nast. How many of you know what the symbol of the Republican Party is today? The elephant. How about the symbol of the Democratic Party? The donkey. We might call it something else, but the symbol for the ladies. You know why we have those symbols today? We have them because of Thomas Nast. He drew them. And they stuck with us. And the illustration of the postman, December 30th, 1865, will be the most iconoclastic image of Santa Claus. The reason we picture Santa Claus like this is because of Thomas Nast. That's not how he drew Santa in 1862. 1862, he drew Santa as something totally different. Alright, I'll need that. Not done yet. There you go, getting a stripper in the freezer. Oh, the scandal. Oh, mercy, Lord help us. If we get banned, you'll know why. There he is. That's what Santa Claus looked like. Reimagined. That's how it's done. Now, in 1862, he not only has this, but he also has a small wooden puppet. And it's Jefferson Davis being linked. He's being hung. And he's coming into the Union camp. And the Union soldiers, yeah! By the way, you know why Santa Claus lives at the North Pole? Well, Thomas Nash put it there. Why? So the Southerners couldn't say he lived at the South Pole. Honest? So, 1863, Santa will be seen again in one vignette. They can go down the chimney. Must be an organ house. Oh, that's the Harvard Weekly. 1863, that's in January. In December, he will show again Santa Claus in two pictures. A mother praying for her husband, and the husband, the dad, out inside the field, and then there'll be two smaller pictures of the children nestled in bed. And they're inside of the child's bedroom is Santa Claus. With a sack on his back full of toys. This is how Nash envisioned Santa Claus. Yankee Claus, I like to call him. Union Claus. Why did he dress him up like Uncle Sam without the goatee? For the Union War effort. Now, Nash gave Santa the night off in 64, but he had another bearded figure there. In 1864, in December, he had Father Abraham instead of Father Christmas. Abraham Lincoln was standing there welcoming tired, poor, bedraggled, defeated Confederate to the Union Christmas party. Peace on earth, goodwill to all. My wife will bring now her device around. Well, this is from, and I have the original. And by the way, if you want the original copy, I have it for $40 if you like. The center fold is what you see here. But this image of Santa, there he is. He's there. And now, if you watch anything on the History Channel, like the History of Christmas Unwrapped, this is the image. You find this image right here, all over the place. But that's not what got my attention. He says, Merry Christmas to all. And folks, if you would have found this centerfold, it's like $100, $80. Not the centerfold, y'all might think that. There we go. Over here, there's a little young girl. She's happy. She's playing with her dolly. Yankee girl. They didn't have dollies like that down south. Over here, the little boy dressed up like a soldier. He's got his bugle. Oh, he's happy. They have stuff like that down here. We had sticks and bones about it. That's about it. But that's still not the extent. I am the 8th cousin of Robert E. Lee. And when I go down to the bottom, I find a scene that is out of a play. It's a play. It's a production. There's Ulysses S. Grant there. And he's called Grant. He called Ulysses the giant killer. And then there at his feet, now go ahead and pass this around. Look there at Grant's feet. If it messes up, see nothing. There at Grant's feet are 3 decapitated heads. One of them is Robert E. Lee. When did Lee die? 1870. That was published December 30th, 1865. Another picture of a head down there is of Richard S. Jewell, and the other one is of A.P. Hill. You say, well, how do you know that's anything? Because in the Bible, what your Sunday school teacher probably did not tell you is that the stone didn't just knock Goliath out. How Goliath was slain was David took his sword, Goliath's sword, that's probably bigger than he was, and he drug that sword up there and he whacked Goliath's head off. And when the head was dismembered, he held that big old noggin, probably 25-pound or more head up for all the Philistines to see, and they turned tail and run. So when it says Ulysses, the giant killer, Lee, Ewell, and Hill are likened to be like the giant, the Confederate giant that stood in the path of the Union victory. But the thing that grinded my gears was there, ho, 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 Santa Claus sitting there saying, Merry Christmas to all. All but us. All but General Lee. I can't remember when Ewell died, but A.P. Hill died, I think, like April 2nd, 1865. He's already dead. But Ewell is still, I think he was still alive. And Lee was still alive until 1870. I told my wife when I saw that, I said, no more. I said, no more Santa for me. Never again. Now, if anybody, now let me tell you where I'm coming from. If anybody believed in Santa, it was me. Because when I was a boy, my daddy would go outside. When did Ewell die? Okay, so he's still alive. Anyway, Daddy would go outside with jingle bells. And when they told me to go to bed, I'd run inside the bed and cover up my head, and he'd be outside in the window shaking them jingle bells. I said, Mom, I can't sleep. I hear something outside. He said, sleigh. The jingle bell from the sleigh. When I woke up on Christmas morning, there'd be a red lipstick on my head. I said, what was that? She said, well, that's where Santa Claus gets you, boy. One year I had the notion to ask him for his hat, and he gave me his hat. And Daddy said, see, he froze his bald head off all the way home. One year I decided to test it. I said, well, I'll leave carrots out for the reindeer. Well, I found the nubs out in the yard. Cookies and milk were eaten, drunk. Oh, yeah, my parents went all out about Santa Claus. But I always knew, as a child, what Christmas was all about. It wasn't about Santa. It wasn't about presents. It was about Jesus. I was grounded in that. I knew. Now, my father-in-law, Heather's dad, was a different story. He didn't really have a lot of grounding in the Word, but everybody told him about Santa. So when he found the truth out about Santa, he said, well, what's about this about Jesus? And my father-in-law came that close to not getting saved. Because they had lied to him about an invisible man that he never could see, Santa. And here's another man that he can't never see, Jesus. But he came that close not getting saved. You do what you do in your home, and you've done what you've done in your home. But when I look back on it as a Christian, as a pastor, a lie is a lie. Now, I have a whole list. Again, it's in my notes. I think I'm doing pretty good without my notes tonight. But I've given this presentation twice this month. So it is in there, rattling around somewhere. But before I get to that, let me close out Jim Lee and Santa. In 1866, there was a woman, Louise something, in New York. She wrote a book called General Lee and Santa Claus. Now, I have heard from some of my Confederate compatriots in the FCD, some people actually believe this is true. I have researched till I'm bluer than a jacket. And what she wrote, every bit of it was a distinction, was real. Okay? In her book, she talks about 3 little girls lived down south, and at the end of the book, they're wondering, why didn't Santa come see the little rebel children? So they decided to write General Lee a letter. And supposedly General Lee wrote them back and he tells him that on 61 he was on guard duty, and you know as well as I do, generals don't do guard duty. Right, Ben?
Oh, yeah. I know that for a fact. They will check on you, though.
The grunts get out and do the dirty work. But anyway, General Ace supposedly told the little girls he was out on guard duty, and halt, who goes there? And it was old Saint Nick coming down with toys for the little southern children. And he said, Santa, you can't come down here with that to the children. You take that to Baltimore. Take those toys up to New York. Sell them. And then purchase medicine and medical supplies. Bring that down to our boys so they can use them. And in the letter, he supposedly tells Santa the same thing, do it until World War I. But I have had some compatriots say that that was a true letter. It's not. It's a fictitious work of art. That's all it is. It's just a novel. It's a fake story. Make you feel good inside.
Yeah.
So, a few years ago, I gave this presentation to my congregation. Didn't dress out like this. This we made this year. Now this is you are the third camp to see this presentation, as poor as it is. And I began to look at the appearance of Santa. I began to look at the actions of Santa, and I began to look at the attributes of Santa, and also the same of Jesus. In one place, I see that Jesus has hair in Revelation, white as snow. Well, how do we always picture Santa? White hair. I see in Isaiah that Jesus had a beard, that they plucked out his beard while they were mocking him. Well, guess who else has a beard? Santa has a beard. Santa is dressed in red. In Revelation, the Bible says that Jesus comes with a vesture dipped in blood, dipped in red. The Bible tells us in Zechariah that God says, ho, ho. Santa says, ho, ho, ho. We are told that Santa is a toy carpenter. At the workshop of the North Pole, makes wooden toys, or at least he used to. Well, the Gospel of Luke says that Jesus is a carpenter. We are told he sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. The Bible tells us that God knoweth our downsettings and our uprising. The Bible teaches us that God is omnipotent. That means he's all-powerful. Santa would have to be all-powerful to deliver all the toys in one night. We're told that God is omniscient. He is all-knowing. Wouldn't Santa have to be all-knowing to know if you've been good or bad? Well, wait a minute, good or bad? The Bible teaches me that Jesus judges right and wrong. Santa decides if you've been good or if you've been bad. A standard of right or wrong. You remember the Christmas story? You know, little Ralphie? He goes to the mall. There's that old Santa. Ho, ho, ho! On that, what's he sitting on? What does Santa usually sit on?
Throne.
A throne. We're told in the Bible Jesus sits on a throne. The Bible tells us in the Old Testament that God lives in the north. Not the Yankee north, but in the north. We're told that Santa lives in the north. Folks, there's a lot of similarity. Jesus is called the everlasting Father in Isaiah. Santa is known as Father Christmas. Santa has become a worldwide phenomenon for the peaceful season of Christmas. Peace on earth, you know. Jesus is known as the Prince of Peace. Children are told, come tell Santa all you desire, all you want, sitting on Santa's knee. What did Jesus say in the gospel? Suffer the little children come to me. He's known as Kris Kringle, which we've already determined is what? Christ child. Folks, all of this stuff hit home. I said, to me, maybe not to you, but to me, there's too much of a coincidence, too much similarity. There's a blurring of the line. Because now Santa is everywhere. And yet the atheists say, get the nativity scene out. A few years ago in New York City, New York City, the atheists put a big billboard up. And it said, keep the Mary, and guess whose picture was there? Santa. And then on the other side was the baby Jesus, and you know what it said? Reject the lie. Reject the myth. Wait a minute. Jesus is the Mary. Jesus is the one who makes me joyful. Jesus is the truth. Santa is the fable. Santa is the Yankee propaganda. Santa is the old preacher man who was turned into an elf. He said, no, wait a minute. You said for me to remember elf, right? Yeah. Inside that picture from 1865, in the background, there's a whole bunch of elves. You know, who does Santa have employed working in his workshop? You remember everybody the elf? Yeah, the little elf with the little pointy ears. I said, Gaither, I said, that's all harmless stuff. Elves, the Keebler elves and stuff like that. But I suddenly began to widen my research. And I found out what elves are known as. In the old world, elves are known not as good guys, demons. Demons. So Santa is the Lord over demons. Wow. Mind blown. Generally in Santa Claus. I don't think he likes Santa Claus after a while. But folks, however you celebrate the holiday, however you celebrate the Christmas season, regardless of what icons you use, remember to keep Jesus front and center. But as a Southerner, Santa was turned into this. And Santa happened to like decapitated heads, one of which was my eighth cousin. And I did not take too kindly to that, so I said, bye-bye, Santa. No more in my home. So, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. And as you Southerner, and you Christian, now it's just like we tell them at church, you decide what to do with what you've heard. It's just the truth. You say, man, I never knew that before. Well, welcome to one of Craig's presentations. You might learn something you might not never know. And this off my cuff without my notes. So, Commander, I hope the camp has enjoyed it. I'll be honored and humbled to do another presentation some other time. And so, until next time, looks like we're about to engage in a game called Dirty Santa or Dirty Yankee or the present game, however it is. Folks, thank you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Yes, sir.
And if everybody will stand up, we'll sing your Dixie. Thank you. Can't get down in dirt.
Was in the land of cotton, old times there not forgotten. Look away, look away, look away, Dixieland. In Dixieland, where I was born, it's early on a frosty morning. Look away, look away, look away, Dixieland. Wish I was in Dixie, hooray, hooray. In Dixieland, I'll take my stand to live and die in Dixie.
Away, away.